Howdy, Banger pals. Blaine Smith welcoming you to another Overkill Reviews, Banger's weekly metal review show. There's more death metal, so I'm back. It's a lot of death metal lately, and this one's a biggie.
Wrath of the Holy, God is the Lord. Satan possess me, you think I rebel. Fuck you with anything, stand with the tongue. Stop the division, look out to the rising ground.
Yes, I'm talking about the new album by Deicide. It's called Banished by Sin, and it came out today, April 26th, on Reigning Phoenix Music, who I hadn't heard of before. So I looked them up, and on their website it says, founded in 2023, Reigning Phoenix Music represents a groundbreaking partnership between two unique visionaries, music industry executive Gerardo Martinez and avionics and tech entrepreneur Sven Bogner. Oh, good. Tech money. Deicide probably need no introduction, but just in case, they'd come into being in 1989 and quickly go on to be one of the death metal equivalent of the Big Four with Death, Morbid Angel, and Cannibal Corpse. This was due to the release of two undisputed classics right out the gate in Deicide and Legion. As time went on, though, Deicide would fare worst out of the four in terms of quality of output by a pretty wide margin. A very not amicable split in the 2000s with the Hoffman brothers left Glenn and Steve with a couple of guitar players over the years. And while Kevin is still here, we've got newbie Taylor Nordberg, who's actually been doing some really fun work over in Inhuman Conditions. So you should definitely check them out if you like the guitar on this. So our old guy's going to be yelling at me in the comments section again. Only one way to find out. Unfortunately, this is my first review that features an AI-generated album cover, so break out the soapbox because, yes, I'm doing this. Why does this thing have an AI-generated album cover? Well, Glenn elaborated on the Brutally Delicious podcast, link down below, because don't just take people's stuff. Besides being a hipster about being into computers before anyone else, he said this: but here's the thing, how hypocritical it is, because my art was being stolen and stepped all over in the 90s. Metallica had seen it coming and they tried to stop it, but all these wannabe mercenaries for artists and all these idiots out there, they were the same people right there stealing my art back then. So where were all you guys to defend my art being stolen and taken advantage of? I don't know, Glenn, they were probably like at school because Napster came out in 1999. So anyone who is 42 and under right now was legally a child. Are you saying if someone sinned against you as a child, they should be damned for all eternity, Glenn? That's awfully Christian of you, Glenn. Regardless, Daniel Ek jerks off thinking about the day this tech will allow Spotify to ask you your 10 favorite albums, and then a computer will just spit out 100 tracks that sound vaguely similar so he can stop shaving off the edges of pennies to mail out to actual musicians. It feels like a way more of an existential threat than Napster. Normally you're supposed to be an actual boomer to deliver bad boomer takes. You're only 56, Glenn, but you're right. Tech startup Midjourney is nothing like tech startup Napster. It's just a super cool sign of the times, Dad. But I get it. Some of you do not care if it's made by AI. It's the quality of the art that it's shit. It's proper shit. It's the prompt, Glenn Benton as a devil, put through the standard AI pasta machine, and then we got out this cursed new Star Trek race. There's even this like weird blurriness going on with the tongue. Just the horns don't, and nothing about it looks good. Into the bin with you. You got to talk about the music. Why are you so obsessed with albums? Do you only listen to metal for album covers? What is wrong with you, you weird man? I'm sorry. But the album cover, honestly, has the most impact of anything on the record. The actual music itself is really lacking an identity. It plays out sort of like a greatest hits record for the highs of Deicide's career, which is cool, I guess, but at whatever point they're looking at in the career, the song would be mid for that era of Deicide. We're currently in the best period to be a death metal fan outside of the actual birth of death metal. And I just can't imagine why you'd reach for this over the constant barrage of amazing and creative output by newer acts or Cannibal Corpse. Cannibal Corpse does better than this. Part of this is due to the super weird production choice. It's both sterile and strange at the same time. Vocals are way too up front, like Glenn's right here, and I don't want Glenn that close to me because I say mean things about him on the internet, and it would probably make for a pretty awkward hang. Lead guitar and drums are also too close to the detriment of rhythm, and particularly Glenn's bass, which, when you can hear it, also sounds weird. It frequently crosses into that whang sound that sort of is like industrial or new metal-y. It sounds like he's got some weird, super high gauge udon noodle strings on there. Solos frequently sound like someone just showing up to work, too. Like the record opener has two of them. The first one is under 10 seconds, and the other sort of just wanders. I'll play one and cut to the other because the two of them together don't add up to more than 30 seconds, so I can play them both. Okay, let's relax. Deicide's not that bad. I'm being a massive dick. Let's compliment the record a bit. Thankfully, Deicide is not pulling a Metallica with this thing and giving us over an hour of nonsense. It's a short, high-energy record with short, high-energy songs. Nothing is a slow drag. Hell, nothing even touches 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So there's certainly fun to be had. And while I definitely criticize songwriting, it's a pretty strong performance of what's written. Like a kid who rushed a book report, but then is just absolutely nailing the presentation with some razzle-dazzle. It sounds like the guys are having fun playing it, and that is nice to hear. I actually think this might be a great first real death metal record for someone because it's an incredibly accessible record. There's nothing extreme or shocking on here. Nothing really pushing the listener into any uncomfortable or unfamiliar spaces. It's just 12 tracks of easy listening death metal. The problem with that is I'm not just getting into death metal, and I'd expect a band that's been playing for 3 years, less than I've been alive, to have something new that they're bringing to the table or something they really excel at. The press for this and other reviews are like, 12 tracks of sonic brutality that will absolutely punish your eardrums. And then I play it and I just straight up forget that it's on. It's background noise to me. The only track that really grabs my attention back is on Woke from God, which is a surprisingly melodic track. And thankfully, despite the title, he's not talking about people being woke or something. It's still just about God. Hey, while I'm being nice, let's plug our Patreon campaign because we have a Patreon campaign. You give us a couple bucks, it allows us to make content here, and it allows us to make content with a great degree of freedom, whether you're furious with me or not. Isn't it nice to just have a review for a metal album that isn't
The absolute onslaught and the blazing shred on the guitar, 8 out of 10.
rubber stamp every single thing? Different opinions are good, and we get to have all the opinions we want over here because of viewers like you. So thanks for that, and if you can send us a couple bucks, that's great. If you can't, just like, comment, subscribe, the usual YouTube rigmarole. Unfortunately, no, I simply cannot. I'm a child who's just going to keep burning his hand on the stove. His vocal performance, while I wish it was mixed a little differently, is nonetheless quite strong. A compliment. He's still got a great death metal voice. I will admit that. It's still unique in both his delivery, and that cool multi-layered effect feels like something Glenn gets to claim whole ownership of, and it's on full display here. The problem, though, is because it's so upfront and because his old school style means you can actually understand what he's saying, and it doesn't help the record. Lines like, "How dare you pray for me? unwanted, don't need your sympathy, unneeded. Yeah, I mean, does that not sound like it could have fallen off the back of a T-Swift album? And did Glenn mention he did a little cross on his forehead? You know it, baby. Curse of creation, born to defy you, symbol of Satan, carved into my head. Axe from my heart, nothing to no one, silent and empty, withered and wicked, die, never confess. Ew. The problem with using an AI to generate an album cover is then it raises questions like, did you get a little extra help with the lyrics? Because it's not that I don't think Glenn had the capability to write these majestic words in him. It's that they're all very generic and kind of boring, and I can't tell if a computer made them. It's just all blasphemy against the church. But like, why don't you like the church, Glenn? Your personal beliefs don't seem that different from your average church goer. It just seems like you like different pictures, Glenn. You voted for Reagan, Glenn. It's kind of always been what's prevented me from connecting with Deicide. It just feels forced and fake. Glenn's always been a guy who's done a lot of wacky stuff to steal the spotlight, but once the spotlight's on him, there's no substance behind it. I feel like I'm on the outside looking in and I'm going, can't you see what he's doing, guys? He's a grifter, he's a shyster, he's a con, he's a guy that just likes the attention that comes with being evil and spooky, so he does the evil and spooky things. But it's like, it's album 13 of Fuck God, but like, why fuck God, Glenn? I just want to know your reasons. I also think fuck God, but I have reasons, Glenn. What are yours? So this was a weird one. A lot of me going at Glenn for seemingly no reason, but it just seems like there's nothing driving this record. So what do I drive my review with? It's far from the worst thing Deicide has put out. Very far. But it's also very far from the best thing Deicide has put out. Very far. I get it. It seems like I have no respect for genre founders, and that is rude, and I don't appreciate metal history. But like, to me, respect isn't a gun license. It's not something we just hand out and never take away, no matter how much it seems like we should. It's a driver's license. You earn it, but if you get drunk and wrap your car around a tree, you gotta earn it back. And a real down-the-plate death metal record in a long line of real down-the-plate death metal records isn't enough to get back in my good books. And maybe I'm just being a contrarian to be a contrarian, but doesn't that seem in the spirit of Glenn Benton? He made this album cover because he thought you wouldn't like it. And I don't. And it's a very middle-of-the-road record. So let's give it very middle-of-the-road. 2.5 out of 5 AI-generated monstrosities. Just kidding. No, fuck AI art, even for a gag. Please put some nice skulls there, Daniel. Or Tommy. I'm not sure who's editing this one. Oh, wait, I'm not waving bye. We still have shoutouts to do. But let's put down the bottle of Haterade and pick up a bottle of Yaterade. Anyways, here's 3 records I'm excited about and enjoy if you'd like death metal that I think is very good. Exhumation, Metal Monthly alumni are releasing Masters Personae on Pulverised Records. Beholder are releasing Dualisme on Avantgarde Music. That's some Quebecois black metal. Hey, yay, Canada. And God, I'm not gonna read this. Oh, God. Dystopia are releasing Der Verboden, Diepte, Veldslag, Op, Durand, Vander World on Immortal Frost Productions. That's also black metal. It's from the Netherlands, and now I know why Quasar says the Dutcher scum, because I can't believe you made me read that. Well, they didn't make me. I just like the record. And I like you for sticking around to the end. Let me know in the comments. Are you furious with me? I'll chat with you anyways. We can talk about it. Do you agree? What's your thoughts? What are you excited about? What's going on? Talk to you later. See you on the next one, gang.